All right, I think we can start. So I'm Yuval from the Knowledge Base team, and I want to welcome you all to this webinar. We are so excited to introduce you to the world of Wix Studio, the web creation platform built for agencies and freelancers. The platform was designed with you in mind, covering the many layers of creating and managing multiple projects, all so you can deliver exceptional, high-quality sites in the most efficient way. Today, we'll learn all about Wix Blocks, the type of apps you can create with it, and the new revenue opportunity that it introduces. And I'd love to introduce you to two lovely ladies from the Wix Blocks team to present today's webinar, Hannah Siani Cohen, head of Wix Blocks, and Naama Aharoni, Blocks R&D manager. Hello. So they'll get started in a sec. Before we get started, I'd just love to run through the way we'll manage comments and questions today. There are lots of participants, and we'll try to address every single question. We have two Q&A professionals with us, and they will reply to you while Hannah and Naama present. So this is how it's going to play out. If you guys have questions, please use the Q&A box at the bottom. This is not the chat box that we are all familiar with, so I just want to make sure you know where the Q&A button is located. That's where all of your questions about this webinar should go to. For comments, you can use the chat box. Just be sure to address everyone in your comments so we could all see. Also, know that this session is being recorded, so it will be available for you to watch back if you need. And another important note, this is only a small glimpse into the Wix Studio world. You can find any topic we cover today and tons more info and learning resources in our academy. This includes all kinds of courses, how-to tutorials, and other webinars at wix.com/studio/academy. And if you haven't already, join our Wix Studio forum. We've got UX people, designers, and product managers who are actively answering questions. Lots of lively discussions there. So sign up to join those conversations. So enough talking from me. I'd love to hand you over to Hannah and Naama. Take it away.
Hi, everyone. Super excited to be here with you. I'm Hannah. Naama.
I'm Naama.
So today we're going to talk about Wix Blocks. Wix Blocks was recently launched as part of Wix Studio, a set of tools allowing you to work better as an agency. You now have the tools to create any project, from designing, coding, to management aspects of your websites. However, most of the tools you're using today will require you to build each project from scratch. Let's take a simple example. So let's imagine one of your clients requests a coming soon page, and you need a countdown timer. So you need to create the UI for it, implement the code, and even manage custom data, and then you're done. Now comes a second client requesting a different website, but it needs the same countdown element. So you need to build it again, create the UI, duplicate the code, and manage again the same custom data. And this will repeat itself for every new site. You'll need the countdown. And if you have a bug, or need to add some new functionality, you'll need to fix it in each and every site you've created. What if I tell you that there's another way to build it, a more efficient way that will allow you to reuse elements across your projects, and that every fix or feature you're adding will be automatically available for all of your sites? And say you already built it. Why not offer it to others? So imagine you could simply create widgets and applications and sell them in the Wix app market. This creates a whole new revenue opportunity for your business. And the next site creator will have it just as ready-made solution with no extra work. This is exciting, right? So we will talk about the business opportunity further in this session, but let's start with the basics. What is actually Wix Blocks? So Wix Blocks is a new editor allowing professional creators to create applications that can later on be installed on all Wix editors. This will allow you to create once and consume endless times on any site and even sell applications on that market. So to explain blocks, let's imagine the following use case. Let's say I'm creating a website for a conference. The site allows visitors to view the conference agenda, information on the speakers, and register to the conference. Naama, can you show us how to create the speakers view in Blocks?
Of course.
So let's just start with creating a whole new application. To do that, you can go to your Studio dashboard, and you see you have the custom apps menu over here. This is where you'll see all the apps you created, and you can manage them from here. And you just click on the Create App button. This will open the Blocks welcome screen where you can see all your recent application and choose the template you want to start with. We'll just start with a blank template for now. And this will load the Blocks editor. Like Hannah said, this is a dedicated editor for creating full stack applications. Let's give it a minute. You're going to see that the Blocks editor has a very similar look and feel to the Studio editor. This is really to give you a familiar environment that will be easy to use and not having to fully understand a new tool. You can see my new application was already created, and every new application can be composed out of from a few widgets. And my first widget is already on stage. So to create the speakers application Hannah just showed, the first thing I can do is just add the component to the stage. So I have my Add panel here. It's very similar to the Studio Add panel, but it is comprised of components that are more suitable for app building than site building. You can see we have different layout tools, which will make my application work responsively. We have media, text, buttons, and I even have the options to embed a custom element or a code if I have things I already built and I want to add them to my application. So let's start by adding my speaker image, for example, and adjusting it a bit, and I'll add the speaker name. And now I can just play around on the stage, adjust the layout, the style. I have the Studio Inspector over here, and I can really adjust everything I want to make my app look beautiful. So to save us a bit of time, I already created my simple speaker app, okay? Here you're seeing one widget showing one speaker. And of course, we want to see all the speakers in the conference. So I created another widget embedding my first widget, showing the speakers repeatedly. So again, once I'm happy with my design and everything looks great, I can start writing my code. This can actually be done concurrently, as the Blocks editor allows you to work simultaneously. So a designer can work on designing the widget, and the developer can already start adding code. So here you see I already added some widget code. I'm using the Velo ID, same as the Studio editor, and I'm just fetching my speakers data and showing it inside my widget. I can have much more abilities if I have coding abilities, and for that I have the full Velo toolkit you already know from your Studio websites. So I can go to the code tab, and I can also add public files. For example, if I want to write a function that will be used between my different widgets, I can also add a backend file that will allow me to interact with other server APIs. For example, here I'm interacting with Bookings backend API, or to save private data, anything that I need for my application. And I don't need to set up any server. I don't need to do any work. I just add the file, and that's it. I have my backend code. And here we can also see I'm using an NPM package. Here I'm just using Lodash to make my life much easier when writing the code. So really, I have the full Velo toolkit that I already know, and it's very easy to use. Once I'm done with my design, my code, I want to start managing the data of my application. So to do that, I also have the option to create a database. Here I already created a database with the speakers that are going to be shown in my speakers widget. You can see I already added some default data, so we'll be able to check everything. And really, again, no setup of a database, just adding a new collection. Everything is done by Wix behind the scene. And when I'm done with my collection, I can go back to my widget and write the Velo code that will interact with the database. When my widget will be installed on the site, the database will be installed with it. And this is how we'll get the full app functionality. Okay, so I have my widget, I have my code, I have my database. Now I can just go to preview. and really see my code running and see that everything is working as expected. Here you can see the real data from the database is being displayed. And I also can check my widget responsiveness and design and see that it looks great in every aspect. When I'm done, I just click build. Here I have a few options. One is to release a test version for myself to really check my application and see that everything is working like I expected. And I also can create an official version and release it to my users. It can be updated automatically across all the site, or it can be updated manually. It's my choice. And basically, I'm done with building my application.
So you have my application ready, right? It's already we have a version we built. Can we use it on a real site?
Yes, of course. So to use my application on a Wix site, again, I can go to the back to the Studio dashboard. I pick my application, and here I have the install on a site button. Here you can see all the sites it can be installed on, and I think that one of the greatest thing about Blocks is that you can install your application on any Wix site. It means it can be a Wix editor, an editoric site, or a studio site, and it will work everywhere. So here, Hannah has already shared with me the Wix Blocks Summit site. So we'll install it on it. So just to save us some time, I already have the site open here, and I have my application installed. So the way to see that all your application and install them,
at this stage, who will see my application? All of the users under my account, right?
Yes.
Okay.
So I can go to the app market. Okay. And here you're going to say, sorry. Still loading. Okay, and here you're going to see a new tab called Custom Apps. And this is showing all your Blocks applications. And you can see, okay, this is my available apps. And you can see I already installed on this side the team members app. Okay, after I installed my application, when I go to the Add panel, you'll see we have a totally new section called App Widgets. And here we already have the cards application we just built on Blocks. So let's scroll in the site. I have my speakers area behind, and I can just drag the widget we just built. It's just designed a bit. And that's it. It looks great.
That's really cool. And I see it rendered with data.
Yes.
Right? Which data is this?
So what you're actually seeing is, if you remember, we added the collection inside the Blocks application, and I said it's going to be installed automatically. So this is exactly what happened here. You can see it in the Velo left tree. Here's my collection. Let's open it. And you see here I configured the speakers I want for this site. And
these are coming as defaults, right?
Yeah, this is coming as default, and you see my widget is already rendered with them. But I have to say, this is one option to manage your data. You can go to the collection, add more items, which is great. But as you know, as partners, a lot of the times you have clients that are not that tech savvy and don't know what is a collection, and you don't really want them to go inside the editor and edit things because they might break your design. So for that, we have dashboard pages, which is a really great feature inside Blocks that allows you to create a dashboard page that will be installed with your application on the site. So to do that, I'm going back to Blocks. And here we have the app dashboard menu. And you can see I already created a dashboard page that will allow me to manage my data from the dashboard without going inside the editor. So building this dashboard page is very similar to building a widget. You have a dedicated add panel with all components that are suitable for a dashboard page. And you can see they have really the same look and feel as other dashboard pages in the Wix dashboard. So I can just drag the components that I want. And again, write Velo code that interacts, for example, with my database and fetches the data and saves the data to the database and just displays it in my dashboard page. So when I'm done with my dashboard page, again, I can build my application. And if we go back to the site we installed my widget on and open its dashboard page, you're going to see that we have the team members application installed here in the menu. And you're going to see the dashboard page I just created. You're seeing it's a much nicer UI than using the collection. And I actually also added a form to allow my clients to add the speakers very easily.
Wow, that's amazing. That's actually coming out of the box together with the application,
yes.
right? And feels very natural as any other functionality introduced by Wix.
Yes.
Amazing. Okay. Now, let's go back to the site. I see that I have my widget with the data. Can I, like the design of this widget? How does this behave?
Okay, so if you remember when I created my Blocks application, let's go back. Everything was black and white. The theme was very clean,
vanilla,
vanilla, yeah. But once we installed it on the site, you can see it's already got the same look and feel as the site. I mean, the background is blue. The call to action button of book a session has a red theme, same as like the menu. And this happens automatically just by building your app on Blocks. We are using editor components that are already wired to the theme of the site, which means that for every different site this widget will be installed on, it will get the same look and feel as the site. And again, this happens automatically.
That's amazing. It's like really natural to the site already. But if I want to change anything, can I still do that? Like change the design?
Yes, of course. So the widget we just built is not a black box. It was built with editor components, which means you can basically modify everything. You can select the widget, you can select the components inside of it, and for each of the components, you get the customization abilities you'll get for it as it was like a component in your site. For example, let's take the book a session button. We can decide to change its design. So I can just like change the background color of the button. Let's give it a light red and some opacity.
Oh,
and that's it.
Okay, so
you're doing it directly from the widget using native panels. No need to do anything special to get it. You get it automatically with your application.
So actually, every application you're creating on Blocks already has, like, out of the box, lots of customization abilities.
Right.
And if I want something like dedicated, like a custom settings panel or I don't know, restrict some customization abilities, can I do that?
Yes. So as the app creator, you have full control over everything in your application. This means that inside of Blocks, you can control the behavior of the widget or the components inside. You can say for each component if you want it to be selectable, resizable, or duplicatable, and really configure everything you want for the widget and its components. And even more than that, we have a really cool feature called Panel Builder, which will allow you to create custom panels to allow your users to control the settings of your application. Or if you want to offer some customization options just from the panel and not directly from the widget, it's also possible. So let's see this. Let's go back to Blocks. You can see I can go to the panels area. And here I already created one panel for my application. It's a setting panel, which allows me to show and hide the member contact details and the session format. So building this panel is as easy as building the widget and the dashboard page. Again, you have a dedicated add panel with components that are suitable for panels and have the same look and feel as other panels in the editor. You just drag the components that you want. You add the Velo code to make sure your panel interacts with your widget and affects it. And that's it. Once I build my application and go back to my site, I can choose to have this new panel as one of the widget menu actions. Here I connected it to the settings button. And when I click on it, you can see that the custom panel we just built loading. And here you see the two options I gave. And once we click it, you can see I'm changing the format of my widget.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, and this is really done very easily. Minimal code, minimal design.
That's pretty cool. So basically, we've seen already lots of customization abilities and out-of-the-box options that allows you to create applications that are really tailored to the flow that you want. But what if I really want a different layout? Like I have different designs that requires a totally different format and layout and design options. In the counter example that we've used before, if I have one site that requires a vertical countdown and the other one is a vertical, how do I actually do that? So for that, we created design presets to be able to take your widgets and offer multiple different design and layout options. In the countdown example, could really go like you could really go wild with it. It could be horizontal and vertical. It could be just counting the days versus counting to seconds. And this way you can really adjust each one of your widgets to suit different business cases, different layouts, and different client needs. Nama, let's show how it works.
Yes. So let's go back to our Blocks applications. You see here, let's go back.
Go to the
to the design area. This is the original widget we built. And you can see here we have the design presets area. So here I already built 4 presets for my widgets. We're seeing the cards one. Let's minimize the code. We also have a slide one, a contact one, and a call to action one. So all of these presets are just different layout and style of the same widget. The code, the dashboard, the collection, everything else I showed is shared between them. So you just need to change the design. Everything else works out of the box. And really to create a new design preset, it's so easy. You just add a new design preset. You automatically get the first one, or you can duplicate one of the existing. And you just play around with the inspector, hide, show components, change the style, and you're done.
So basically, if I want to introduce new presets to my widget, I don't need to code anything. I just have my designer going in and introducing as many presets as I wish to
exactly. And the cool thing about it is that once I have more than one preset in my application, when I go to the consuming side, I will automatically get a presets panel showing all the presets we just created. Again, this panel is created automatically. You don't need to build it yourself. And this will allow your users to create the preset they feel is the correct one for their site. So it really gives you more customization options. And of course, you can also decide to put a different preset in each breakpoint or for mobile device and really have your widget look great in every screen size. And that's basically it.
Wow, that was amazing. And a lot to get asked, okay? We talked about a lot of features. We highly encourage you guys to, if you're interested to build applications, go into Blocks documentation, explore the different features we're having. We have far beyond the things we just shared with you. Start exploring. You'll find treasures there. So let's take a minute and talk about the type of applications you can build with Blocks. So we can start with widgets. This is basically the main case we just talked about. You can build visual widgets. It could be simple compositions and design libraries. It could be UI elements with logic, like forms, calculators, or custom business solutions that integrate with external services and manage data. You can also build code packages to reuse your code. Code packages are libraries for front-end and back-end code, packaging functionality and integrations with external services or any other functionality you want to reuse. A package will expose APIs as you wish it to expose that you can then use and reuse on your sites or even offer it to other developers to use. Block applications can also be more complex business solutions, extending Wix abilities, like in this example, a real estate application. Such applications can combine visual widgets, business logic, code, data, dashboard pages, installation flows, everything from the things you've seen just now, and manage everything outside of the sites you're installing it on. The amazing thing about full stack applications is that you can now have full applications hosted and managed on the Wix platform. So no need for external servers, No need to have backends, to manage databases, to do any optimization, no maintenance, no update concerns. All scaling, security, and availability concerns are all handled by Wix. This is actually amazing. And I think it's like the only platform in the world that actually allows you to create applications like that. Now, let me tell you a little secret. Blocks is already used internally by Wix developers for creating applications. The new product page, for example, just launched on Wix Studio, was built on Blocks, introducing lots of customization abilities for a richer online store experience. Another successful example is the portfolio application created with Blocks, introducing lots of design and layout options. And we have some other applications like restaurants menus, which was also recently launched, staff members, download my app, and even the countdown we just showed you. Okay, let's recap just for a minute before we move on to the really exciting stuff, the advantages of using Blocks. So you can create Blocks application for any reusable element you can imagine. You reuse it on a single site. For example, if you have a big site that needs a repeating pattern, or across multiple client sites. Any of the logic you create on your application and the design will remain isolated from the sites it's installed on. So no worries, your client will not be able to mess it up. Since the apps are built on the Wix platform, any maintenance and optimization concerns will be handled by Wix. And I think above all, you can now sell your applications and create a new source of revenue for your business. This is exciting. And let's deep dive into that. Let's talk about how you can offer your applications on the app market and sell them. So once you're done creating your application, you can simply submit your application to be published on the Wix app market. From the Blocks editor, choose the Publish option from the top menu. It will open the Developer Center of Wix, where you can manage your public application. You'll first need to define the market listing for your application. This will be to describe your application to increase its discoverability and exposure. You can also add media and demo site to showcase your application to attract users. Once you're done with the market listing, you'll move on to the next step, which will be to set up monetization options for your application. This is a full domain of how to set different plans for your application, and you can choose from multiple options and not limit yourself to a single plan. And when you're ready, simply submit it for review. Once approved, your application will appear in the app market. Exciting, right? Very exciting. And once your app is published, you can go back to the Dev Center anytime and track your application performance, manage reviews easily, check app statistics, issue refunds, and manage payouts. By the way, we already have real live applications by partners in the app market. These are just a couple of examples, and we're truly excited about that. And we have additional ones just coming out in the pipeline, submitted and pending our approval. We encourage you all join by building application to the app market. Offer new solutions to the entire user base of Wix. As you know, Wix App Market has a wide user base with over 220 million users creating sites on the different Wix editors. They can now become your potential clients. Submit your application to the Wix App Market and enjoy the first year as 100% revenue share. That's amazing. Be one of the first partners to sell application on Wix App Market and help Wix extend our offering. That's amazing. And we can't wait to see what you'll be creating and how you'll assist Wix world.
that's it for today.
Okay. Thank you, Hannah and Emma, for that thorough presentation. Very exciting stuff. And I guess we'll dive into some of our top questions. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Great. So, first question, do I need to be a professional developer to create apps on Wix Blocks?
So I think you've all seen in the demo. It really depends on you. So it depends on the application you're trying to create. If it's a simple composition or something that's more visual and design oriented, of course you can create it with minimal code or even sometimes with no code at all. Now, if you're going into something more complex that requires integration with other services or complex business logic, of course, you'll need to code it, right? But then I think you can consider also collaborating with different partners, like work together. Someone can be in charge on the design, another one can be in charge on the development. You can work together and just introduce whatever your imagination takes you.
Yeah, and it's also important to say that we are working on more codeless solutions to give people who are not great coders the option to still build applications, and this will improve over time.
Yeah, right. So basically, the same no-code abilities that are now introduced in the editor, like data binding and interactions, are coming soon to Blocks. This will allow you to create already applications that are very rich in experience managing data and have minimal code. And will improve, of course, with more and more no-code features.
Okay, great. Very interesting. And how can I choose which app to build if I'm not exactly sure as I'm getting into Wix Blocks, what app exactly I want to build?
That's actually a great question that we're getting quite a lot. So I think that one of the things we can share already is that in the dev.wix.com, you can already find information about the top requests of users, and you can use it, right? Like to try and answer the top requested apps. But I want to emphasize it a bit beyond that. Like the user base of Wix is really, really big. It's like 220 million users. Even if you'll create something that's like attending a specific need or a specific niche, it will not show in our top request, right? So I really encourage you to find the patterns that you as partners you know best. What are the things that Wix is missing? What's not available in the app market? What you've tried to create before and couldn't do it because you didn't have the application or needed to work very hard in order to achieve it. And once you'll find your niche, I think this will be the key to your success. Beyond that, I think that every successful application starts with a good research. So researching what's available on Wix, how to compare with the different features that the competitive applications are offering, even if it was created by Wix itself or if it's created by third-party developers. Research also the market, like be very attentive to trends. Like I can just throw out of my mind like AI as one very strong trend, integration with social networks, and it just goes on. So be very attentive to trends, and I think this will all be a good direction to go with.
Great. Actually, that was a great segue for a question that we got, actually multiple questions that we got about AI in this context of Wix Blocks and apps, how to leverage AI, but also, is it possible to integrate AI with Wix Blocks?
Yeah, so basically anything you can do as a Wix developer, you'll be able to do with Blocks as well. So integrating with AI, creating solutions that integrate with AI tools and offer some kind of an experience on top of it is a very good direction. And we actually already see partners that created applications like that and even introduced them already in the app market. So that's definitely a direction.
That's great. And we got a question from someone, not sure I'm ready to sell my app on the app market yet. is there a way to explore blocks a bit beforehand to get confident before reaching that step of the app market?
Definitely. And I totally understand this. Like it's a shift in mindset, right? So usually as partners, you work very closely with clients. Approaching the entire user base of Wix and being so exposed might be a bit intimidating, although try to remember this is a huge potential like revenue that you can now earn. Like you don't need to chase your project. You simply put your application out there and it's like a passive income, right? But basically, you can start with just trying to create applications for a specific project. You don't need to start with creating applications to the app market. So if you have a project that you feel that this will be a repeating pattern, you can create some of the functionality of this project as Wix Blocks application. Use it only as on one side at the beginning, and then try to use it on the next client that requests the same functionality. Just flow with it, explore, and once you're confident, you can then submit it to the app market. You don't need to rush into it and do it on your own pace.
Yeah, small steps. And in terms of charging, if someone is, selling apps on the app market for the first time or one of the first few times, how can they know how much to charge for an app they've just created?
Okay, great question. We get that a lot. So basically, it really depends on the application, right? Because for different services and different complexity of applications and the business value it brings to the site, this is actually the key for pricing. So if you're implementing something that's like a complex integration and very crucial to the business side of the site, of course you can charge more. Like we see applications that are handling logistics, payments, dedicated like niche operation aspects, and like they're pricing higher. And things that are more UI oriented, visual aspects are usually a bit lower. And I'm returning to the research part of creating your application. Try to see what others are doing. Try to explore how competitors or like similar applications are pricing their applications. This will give you a good hint of what you can like aim for. And always keep an eye on different platforms, like not just like looking at Wix. Try to look at other platforms that have similar applications, and try to see how they charge for it. And remember, you can always offer multiple plans. So we highly recommend like creating multiple plans to give a quick glimpse or some kind of a taste of your application. So you can do like a freemium version and then some features as a plan, as a premium plan, like a paid plan. And also for that, you can have multiple levels of functionalities. You can have it as subscriptions with monthly and yearly plans. This will allow you to once you set a yearly plan, it will allow the user to get some kind of a discount, but then it will help you retain these users. So it's all about like trying and like planning ahead and exploring about it.
Okay. And we got a great question here that's a bit more general about apps in the future. How popular will apps be in the future compared to now?
Okay, that's
your opinion, of course.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm not sure if you're familiar, but you probably like working with Wix already. You see that there are a lot of applications that are still missing, a lot of solutions that are still missing at the Wix app market. It's a relatively small marketplace. So and up until now, it was very difficult to introduce new applications to the app market. And now Blocks like really change. It's a game changer. So you can introduce applications to the app market in a very easy way, a rapid process, and we're super eager to publish them and offer them to all of our users. So basically, we feel that
like this will be a huge opportunity for you guys. Like that's a classic blue ocean scenario, right? Like not a lot of applications, lots of opportunity, and I think that in a couple of years from now, we'll see the app market like stronger in like multiplications, not by like by factors.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so thank you very much, Nama and Hannah. I think those are all the questions we can get to for today. But if you have any questions that we haven't answered, head over to the new Wix Studio forum and join the Wix Studio Discord community. Those are two great places for you to ask away. Our product managers will be more than happy to help you out there. And of course, our Help Center and the Academy are always there as a resource for you to get more information. And the recording of this webinar will be uploaded to our Academy and YouTube channel shortly. And before we say goodbye, if you have any feedback about today's webinar, please let us know in the feedback form. We're going to share a link to it shortly in the chat. Please let us know how we did today. Let us know what you want to hear more about. And that's it, everyone. Thank you again so much for attending, for listening, and for asking wonderful questions in the Q&A box. And that's it. Have a great evening and a great rest of your week. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.